Crystal, it's been about a month since we last talked. It's been about a month since the team last played, so we haven't had your chance to talk about the season opening trip to California. Even though you weren't there, give us a recap on the team's successes down there.
Yeah, tried to stay in the loop as much as I could via media and watch it when I could and all of that, but they just did a fabulous job. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about all along is the team taking ownership, and they went to California. They were kind of thrown into a scenario where they had to do that, and thankfully Bob kind of was also thrown into that scenario, and he did really well to lead them. But they came out, they knew what to do, and they came out against some good SCIAC competition. They hit the ball really well. Pitching, I think we had maybe 4 shutouts total, which was pretty good. Defense, first day out on the field against Redlands, and 0 errors out on the dirt. So they didn't skip a beat. I mean, it was really neat to see.
Now, people who are familiar with the program know about the challenges that you and Randy and the team went through at that time. Yeah. What does it say about the character of this group that they were able to carry on the way that they have in that situation?
Well, when we go out and we recruit, we often talk about the culture of the team that we try to create, and really the culture is created by the girls that we have. And it started to happen a couple years ago where we had a handful of girls who really, truly, genuinely cared about one another, loved one another, and started to create this family culture. And this year we can say that this is, the entire team kind of buys into that mentality. And so when they found out Wednesday morning that Randy was in the hospital, literally as they were headed to the airport, they just really came together as a family would. And I think it made us stronger as a team, brought us closer as a team. And it was an all-around, ended up being, Randy talks about it ended up being a good experience despite the struggles. He doesn't want to do it again, but Peyton, one of the leaders on our team, also talked about the silver lining in it all and what we all learned throughout that process. And anything that happens, I mean, it just puts everything in perspective. Any downtime that we have this season, there's not going to be a struggle that we will face on the field that will ever compare to that scenario. And we all have that perspective and understand and can keep softball where softball should be priority-wise.
What do we know about Willamette? We open conference play this weekend against the Bearcats. What do we know about this team?
Well, we know that they pretty much lineup-wise, they might have 1 or 2 new girls in the lineup, freshmen coming in. But for the most part, they're the same team that we saw last year, which we were successful against. We're also in large part the same team with a lot of freshmen who played against them last year and were successful. So we're anticipating that we should come out, do really well, but we can't take them for granted. They have a pitcher that ended up, as the year went on last year, we saw them early, and as the season went on, she improved. So I know that they played a tough SCIAC team in Claremont, who's at the top of that conference right now, and they didn't come out victorious, but they played them in some relatively close games. And so just conference-wise, we can never take any team for granted. You just end up knowing each other so well that on any given day, you don't quite know what will happen. But we're anticipating that we should be able to be pretty successful.
It's a long conference season, 28 games. How important is it to get off to a good start?
Very. And we have a 3-weekend home stretch, and we need to use that home field advantage as much as that is. But it's nice to play at home. We get a good following, and we need to jump out this week and then the 2 weekends after it to really get some good wins under our belt, so that when we go into that away stretch, which is obviously just a little bit more difficult than playing on your own field, and so that's not as big of a kind of a crunch time. So we want to start off really well.